In this part, we're going to be comparing the Canon Cinema EOS C300 and the EOS 1DC. This is a comparison that we have had requests to do. We hadn't originally planned on doing this comparison, although we had a pretty good idea from the seminar where these cameras stood. So this first part, we're just showing both cameras in a well-lit close-up environment. And keep in mind, the only thing we're really comparing in this comparison are the three things that we addressed in the seminar, which are areas of sensitivity and low light, which will come later in this video, color detail and sharpness, which will be coming up shortly, and then image detail and resolution, which what we're going to do is take both of the files from this scene, and as you see, we're going to zoom in on the file. So this is not a zoom from the camera, this is zooming in on the file, which allows us to look at the actual sharpness and detail that the camera is capable of doing. We're now going to do that same thing on the EOS 1DC, and even though you're seeing this in HD and the camera is capable of 4K, this is 4K down converted to HD, so you can see how the EOS 1DC performs at HD, which is one of the most revealing things at the seminar, is how well 4K makes an HD image, as well as all the other things you can do with it. Now this part, we're going to again take the file, we're moving in to about a 5 times magnification. You can see at the beginning of this the size of the chart, full screen. Now we're going to concentrate on just the areas that allow us to evaluate the sharpness of the color. This is of course where if you look at 420 versus 422, it's very different. These cameras, however, if you use the 1DC and record in the 4K, it's recording at 422. So when you down-res that to HD, it maintains an absolutely incredible 422 HD signal, which you'll see here in a minute as we are moving into the C300. Now the places on this chart to look is on the far right. You'll see the word green, which is actually out of red. On a green background, so it's very easy to see where the edges fall apart or if they hold up, and then the same thing, you have the word red, which is made out of green lettering. On the left side of the chart, you'll see some very fine magenta and purple blue lines, and then they run a cross grid. And some of the 420 cannot even, some cameras cannot even resolve this information. Both of these cameras, coming from an EOS background, a cinema background, resolve this very well. The next part that we're going to take a look at is we're now going to take the chart and look at just the luminance, or what's commonly referred to as resolution or image sharpness. And this is interesting because we didn't really plan this, but it's a really good example of understanding the difference between sharpness and resolution. As you'll see as we zoom in on the 1DC, the camera was slightly out of focus. Now, it wasn't in the center of the picture or on the color, but what we found when we looked at these slides, and unfortunately we didn't, we can't go back and do them under the same conditions and it wouldn't be fair. So these were done under the same lighting right to the side of that set you just saw. So we're going to go ahead and use it because I think it's a good example of understanding the difference between sharpness and resolution. So the 1DC is slightly out of focus, even though we used an EOS monitor to focus the whole screen. When we zoom, we're zooming in software, so that's why we couldn't check this. And in terms of the full screen, it looked very good on the OLED monitor, but what we didn't realize is on that particular shot of the 1DC, the angle of the camera and the angle of the chart was such that this side of the chart was not in crisp focus. But it's still very valuable for evaluation, because if you look at the converging lines around 1600, both horizontally and vertically, particularly it's easy to see in vertical, even if you're only looking at this at 720, that the resolution of the 1DC, because it's downsampled, essentially it's oversampled 4K, makes an incredible HD signal. Now here, we have set up with our model artist just a split screen we're doing very briefly here, so you can see again that both of these cameras have very good rendition of color, detail in the shadows, very low noise, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the same scene, and we have a varactor on the lamp, so we're going to bring that down to about a fourth of its normal 110 volt voltage. It's just a glow now, and the main light that is hitting the artist is coming from that candle. So you're able to take a look at the actual grain structure, the sensitivity, the ability to reproduce midtones, and how they handle color and low light. This was also very interesting to us because the larger size photo sites of the 1DC, because remember, when it shoots in 4K, which is what this is downsample from, it's actually using an APS-H size sensor. So they're both using 4096 pixels across, even though the C300 never gives you the full 4K. It uses a double sample of the green and full bandwidth. You can see the comparison difference.